Today we're going to be talking about the triangle proportionality theorem. And what this says is if a line is parallel to one side of a triangle, so line here, DE, is parallel to one side of the triangle, and it intersects the other two sides, so we have the intersection at point D and the intersection at point E, then it divides the segment into proportional lengths. So I have this point here is dividing these two proportional lengths, and then this one here is dividing these into two proportional lengths. So if I have line DE is parallel to line AC, and we have our symbols on our lines that tell us that, then these are going to be proportional. So I'm going to write BD, the smaller one here, over the other side, DA, equals the small side here, BE, over the other side of point E, which would be EC. We then can take and reverse that and do the converse of it. So if we know the two sides are proportional, so if BD over DA is equal to BE over EC, then we know that lines DE, or segment DE, will be parallel to segment AC. So looking at example 1, I have my larger triangle here with the smaller triangle inside of it, and I know that these two lines are parallel because of the arrow that is on top of them telling us that. So if these two lines are parallel, then these are all going to be proportional sides. So I'm going to set up a proportion. So I'm going to do this one here, 12 over top of the other length on that same side, so 12 over 14 is going to equal 15 over, and then we'll have x, so that's our unknown right there. So then solving this, we're going to cross multiply. So I'm going to have 12 times x, or 12x, equals 14 times 15, which is going to give me 210. I'm then going on to just solve this algebraically, so dividing by 12, those cancel, dividing by 12, I have x equals 17.5. That's my final answer. Looking at number 2, I'm going to once again solve for x by setting up a proportion. So I'm going to start with this side here, which is x, putting that on top of the 18 here. So it's that same side, and then setting them equal, and then we're going to go to this other side here. So since x, my smaller triangle, is on top, 56 has to also go on top, over top of that 21. Then we're going to go ahead and cross multiply. So x times 21, or 21x, equals 18 times 56, which is going to give me 1008. Then solving algebraically, I am dividing by 21. Those cancel. Dividing by 21. I am left with x equals 48. Going on to the second page for number 7 through 9, we're going to do the opposite of what we did. So we need to determine if these two lines are going to be parallel. So I'm given all of my measurements, so I'm just figuring out if these two are parallel. So I'm going to first, again, start by setting up a proportion. So I'm going to start with Km, which is 11, over Mj, which is 15.4, equals, and then I'm going to do Kn here, which is 10, over Nl here, which is 14. Then I'm going to cross multiply. So I have 11 times 14, that's going to give me 154, equals, and then 15.4 times 10 is going to also give me 154. So yes, these two lines are going to be parallel. Now we are going to talk about proportional parts and parallel lines. So looking at our picture, if 3 or more parallel lines intersect two transversals, so I have 1, 2, 3 parallel lines due to the arrow here, and they're being intersected by two transversals here, then they cut off the transversals proportionally. Okay, so what that means is, if I know segment AB here is parallel to line CD here, which is also parallel to line EF here, then I can set up a proportion of these segments that it breaks down into along my transversal. So AC over CE is going to equal BD over DF. So AC and BD are on top, CE and DF are on bottom. So for number 10, we want to find the value of X. So I have my 3 parallel lines, so I know if those 3 lines are parallel, those two transversals are going to be cut proportionally. So I'm going to set up my proportion with these. So I'm going to start with this side here, which is 45 over top of 18 here, setting that equal to, so 45 across from that is 52, so that's going to go on top, and then across from 18 is X. Now we're going to cross multiply. So I have 45 times X, 45X equals 18 times 52, or 936. Then I'm going to take and divide both sides by 45. And I get X equals 936 divided by 45, or 20.8. Looking at number 11, once again I have my 3 lines that are parallel. So my 2 transversals are going to be cut proportionally. So I'm going to set up that proportion now. So I'm going to start with 30 here in the top. Put that on top of the 12 here. Setting that equal to, across from the 30 we have our X, and put that on top of our 14 here. Then I'm going to take and cross multiply. So I have 30 times 14, which is going to give me 420. Setting that equal to 12 times X, or 12X. And then I'm just dividing both sides by 12 to get X alone. Let's cancel. I am left with X equals 35.